Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. As the first Sunday in August, we will hold our Shotsuki service for those who passed away in the month of August. As I read the names, you may go to your home altar or obutsudan and burn incense in their memory. Even if I don't call someone's name who may have passed away in the month of August, you may also do the same. Go to your home altar and burn incense and keep them in your memory. So the list for August will start with those who passed away most recently. Yoshiko Watanabe, Yachie Motobu, Betty Tsuneko Yano, Ken Nakamura, Hyono Omori, Lillian Sekishiro, Florence Yamashita, Florence Mizuki, Kyoko Ochi, Takashi Furukawa, Jackie Newcomber, Masa Nishinaga, Rodney Furuya, Kusae Akiyama, Yukuye Hayashi, Hisako Matthews, Michiko Kishimoto, Margarita Rodriguez, Tetsu Yamasaki, Hisatoshi Ueji, Kyoko Nakamura, Mitsu Hachisu, Roy Nakatani, Stephen Yamamoto, Sakuru Ralph Goya, Tomeno Kinoshita, Toyuichi Tanaka, Janet Takeguchi, Paul Shimizu, James Balu, Kitoji Ninomiya, Michiko Tagawa, Saburo Muraoka, Hatsue Kobayashi, Asuyo Fuji, Fuji Hashiguchi, Onoe Ito, Kan Nishinaga, Masahide Kuroe, Masao Taniguchi, Kenichi Kawasaki, Mina Murata, Kinjiro Nakamura, Kanichi Tsuji, Mitsu Ohara, Atsuko Takasugi, Toku Matsumoto, Genshichi Nabeta, Taka Yamashita, Kuni Yonekura, Haruo Otsuji, Tadao Kiyono, Mitsuo Taniguchi. And again, if you have any loved one who passed away in the month of August, please burn incense in their memory. This Sunday, we're actually experiencing the Olympics, and you may be watching this video in between some of the Olympic Games. The world of sports really replicates many of the concerns we have in our ordinary lives, because we strive for perfection in some aspects of our career. And it's very inspiring to watch athletes who are the best in the world. Athletics is a perfect example of practice leading to perfection, or the goal of perfection. We talk about practice in Buddhism. So we thought we could use the example of sports to clarify some issues that each of us may deal with. On July 19th, in Time magazine, Naomi Osaka is featured on the cover, and it has the heading, "It's okay to not be okay." This statement comes from an athlete who is at the top of her sport, tennis. Naomi withdrew from the French Open and did not participate in the media interview after the match. She also skipped Wimbledon, a major tennis tournament. She's ranked number 1 or 2 in the world. Unfortunately, she was eliminated in the Olympics. In her essay in Time magazine, she shares that she is actually introverted and that she felt pressure to publicly disclose these symptoms of her anxiety. She's had long bouts of depression. And like many careers and jobs, there are many things she does very, very well. And yet there are other parts that are not so good. In my case as a dentist, I enjoyed the technical aspects and being with patients. but I really didn't like the job of running a small business. We must realize that competing as an athlete at this high level takes tremendous effort. She was great at tennis, but had difficulty with interviews. Having bouts of depression can be very debilitating. I know, as I have had this problem many years ago, and it was even very hard to get out of the house. Another athlete who withdrew from competition at the Olympics is Simone Biles, a gymnast. She withdrew from almost all competition. This video is being recorded early, so I'm not sure about all of her activities. She said that her mind-body coordination was not right and is very critical as a gymnast, as any miscue could lead to serious injury. As difficult as it is for these withdrawals, these athletes have shown courage in following their hearts. Fortunately, others have come to their support, with Naomi Osaka, Stephen Curry, and Michelle Obama are a few that have really supported her. This situation resonates with me as a Shin Buddhist, as an admission of weakness is a sign of truth. We're told that Amida Buddha accepts all parts of us. As such, we might be able to admit our weakness. Shinran continued to admit his weakness, his bombu, or limited non-virtuous side. It is this acknowledgement of our dark side, our shadow, that enables us to open up to receive the compassion of Amida, or the efforts of others. Reverend Dr. Mark Uno writes, in Shin Buddhism, we greatly value our blind passions as the very source of our own wisdom and compassion. By this, he means that when we meet our barriers, things that can defeat us, we begin to realize many other factors that do support us. Our first noble truth indicates that it's our suffering or discontent that alerts us that something's wrong. And then the second noble truth indicates that we have something to do with it. It may be our hatred or greed. Often it's just our ignorance, or that we're ignoring what is true. The value of the second noble truth is that since we have something to do with our discontent, we can do something about it. We don't blame it on others. We don't pray to a deity to fix it. We have the ability to fix our own situation. As a dentist, I'm familiar with patients who didn't come in for routine checkups. They may have had an inkling of a problem, but ignored it. Then, when they were in pain, they came in for treatment on an emergency. Sometimes it was too late to save a tooth, or they may have had to have more extensive and expensive treatment. When Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles have done, they brought attention to the extreme pressure on athletes at the highest level. We may not be world-class athletes, but we do have issues that bother us. Fortunately, we have a religion that says it's okay to not be okay. Come as you are. We value our dark side, our incompetence, because it admits that we are whole. We don't have to be perfect. Shinran understood this intuitively. When he read the Buddhist sutras, it is this idea of needing to be accepted. This is why the idea of being accepted just as we are is so important. Amida Buddha represents the healing that we all seek. I think it would be helpful to update Shinran's words so that we can trust it and know that it's valid. When Shinran talks about the Pure Land being in the West, we know that it's symbolic. In our modern global view, we know that the Earth rotates, and so West symbolizes death or the afterlife, as the sun sets in the West and the Earth grows dark. And many old cultures have a similar idea. So when Shinran talks about our evil, ignorant self, it seems that he means our entire self. And this may be true, but it's hard for us tender modern Americans to be called entirely evil. So modern psychology helps us. It tells us that only part of us may be ignorant, greedy, or hateful, and we call this our shadow part. So this whole notion of Bombu is not that we are complete idiots, but there are parts of us who are wounded. And so I like to use the word ordinary for Bombu. All of us are wounded. We all have a hot button. Some words and insults really don't bother us. However, we do have tender spots. Psychology tells us, and they call it a primal wound, because as children, we were not seen or supported as we wanted. So when this happens to us as adults, we react and respond like children, and these wounds must be healed. However, we know that these wounds hurt, so we hide them. And since they're hidden, they're difficult to see. And it takes courage to admit what hurts us. Of course, some of these wounds are more severe. Naomi did this. She admitted that she had this depression and needed these wounds to be healed. For some of us, we're always upset with others. This is a sign that we have a large wound. We see this in public, where there are groups of people who can only blame others for their upsets. These individuals are often very unhappy. Usually these wounds are too deep to be healed just by words or activities at a temple. And I think I would recommend private psychology for some treatment or therapy. And I think we all can use some help with another person, a professional, telling us more about ourselves. This can be life-changing. But if you don't do that, you can always listen to a spouse or a very close friend or relative who can tell you the truth about yourself. We may not want to believe it, but admitting the wound would really help us. As a Shin Buddhist temple that reflects the teachings of the Buddha, we might try to accept people just as they are. It is difficult because in some situations, their actions and words hurt others. But let us realize that for all of us, it's okay to not be okay. So as we gather back in person for our services and activities, we can relate to one another knowing that each of us has a wound. As we accept others, we hope that others accept us. Our negative side completes us. It's our limitations that allow us to realize that others are also struggling with their dark side. Namo Amida Butsu is our assurance that we are ultimately accepted just as we are. The value of voicing Namo Amida Butsu is that we hear it and we can accept ourselves just as we are. We begin to let go of our harmful ways and treat others with wisdom and compassion. And this is how it is okay to not be okay. So please let's keep this thought in mind as we voice the Nembutsu. Please join me in Gassho. Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda.